And the next thing they're up there putting caulk up on your roof, on your shingles, and charging you $1,000 and calling it a day, and you still got a leak or something. Keep in mind that there are absolutely more contractors out there that want to screw you than want to help you. No questions asked. I would say it's like 70 or 80% of the contractors out there are total, absolute dog shit. Hey there, property leaders. Finding contractors is tough. It's difficult. It's something we all have to do. If you stick to these simple rules, you may not get screwed, but odds are it's going to happen eventually, so you better be ready. Before we continue, if you would take a moment to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Also, check out my book, Leadership for Landlords, now available on Amazon. We have been super busy this year. We have done multiple rehabs. We've done lots of little jobs, and that's actually what prompted me to want to speak to you today. I want to talk to you about contractors. Today, we had one that almost got one over on me. Almost. It's actually happened a couple times this year, but this one I absolutely caught. And I wanted to share that experience with you so it didn't happen to you. So today, Ling and I, like we always do, we were doing our rounds around our apartments, and we came across one of our buildings had a strong odor of natural gas coming from it. So I got down and I started inspecting the meters, and sure enough, we had a leak. I contacted the gas company. They came out and shut the meter off. And they said there was a massive hole in it. Somebody had run into one of our meters and left a big gouge in it. We think it was maybe the landscaper, but honestly, it doesn't matter. All that mattered is that we had to get it resolved. So the meter got pulled off and replaced. And when the gas company was testing the line, there was a leak somewhere else in the building. And they said often when people hit these meters, it'll shift pipes and stuff, and you'll break seals. And now I have to have it resealed. Well, guess what? I'm not a gas guy. I don't do that stuff. That's not me. I hire that out because I want to make sure it's done right. We got people living in the building. I start calling around. It was about 10 a.m. When the gas company told us we had to have this done. So I started calling around and finding contractors. Of course, it's a Sunday. Nobody wants to work, especially for something like this. These contractors, they're hard to find because they need special certifications, and the guys that are doing it right, the guys that are doing it legit, guess what? They make good money. They don't need to work on the weekends, so they're hard to find a lot of times. Saying it's an emergency, that's usually like the worst possible thing you can say to a contractor. It's like blood in the water. So I said it because guess what? It's a Sunday. It's a gas meter. I have a tenant now that has no hot water. They have no stove, like no way to cook food. Like it is an emergency, and that's literally what we're paid to do, is to resolve these issues. We find somebody. This guy comes out, and as he was driving out, I'm like on site. It's not like I have my desktop here. I don't have my laptop with me. I just have my phone and my toolkit. And I start searching and looking this guy up and finding his company information out, and it turns out this guy is a huge scumbag. He's got an F rating on Better Business Bureau. He's got like 6 negative reviews on Facebook. Total scumbag. And I'm like, well, what do I do? I've already called him out here. I don't want to just call him on the phone and be like, hey, sorry, I know you've already dropped everything and you're on your way. Like, don't come. I don't feel that that's fair to the contractor because maybe they were just bad reviews. Maybe he does a lot of work. I don't know. So I tried to give this guy a chance. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, fully knowing that like if he shows up and he's a total jerk off, like I'm probably still going to cover the time that he came out there. Like that's just who I am. Do whatever you want, but that's who I am. So the guy comes out and he starts trying to feed me all of this bullshit about gas lines and how you have to take things apart to find leaks. And I was like, look, man, I wasn't born yesterday. I know that you can just test the line. You can put a pressure test on the line, spray some soapy water back there and see where it's leaking. Like, I'm not an idiot. And he tried to argue with me. So I fired him on the spot. I was like, you got to go, brother. I'm like, I'll pay you for the time. I'll pay you that you showed up, but we're done here. Like, we're not going to go any further. I'm not going to argue with you. I know enough to know that you're trying to like pull one over on me. So that was the end of that. But you know what? I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a frequent occurrence. This happens all the time. You know, we actually ended up getting that resolved today, by the way. I did find somebody shortly after that guy. We got it resolved, and the tenant's gas is back on. So they're good to go. I'm not just here making videos while we have a tenant with no gas. The first thing is obviously we identify the issue. So I knew right away that this was a gas line issue because I had the gas line experts there telling me that. I had the gas company. This is literally what they do all day. They're not making any money off me. Like, this is what you pay a service fee for, is for their expertise. So they're telling me that there's a leak someplace in the line. So, okay, got it. There's a gas leak. Check the box. We know what the issue is now. Okay, so now I need to find a person to resolve the issue. So for gas lines, a lot of times you contact plumbers. They deal with gas lines. I don't know why we don't have gas line specific people, but that's who you call. You call the plumber. So I start calling around, finding plumbers. And as I said earlier, the magic word to get most contractors out, good or bad, is to tell them it's an emergency, because they're going to charge you extra. They love that word. They love to hear emergency, because then they know they're making time and a half or whatever it is. Usually I go out of my way to avoid making it seem like an emergency, even if it is an emergency, because obviously I don't want to pay a ton of extra money. But in this case, I was absolutely okay with it, because it was an emergency. It was a weekend. It was a tenant who no longer had the ability to cook food or take a hot shower. Like, that's not the quality of life that I like my tenants to have. Our buildings aren't amazing, but our tenants can at least cook food and take hot showers and have heat in the winter. Like, those are the things that, you know, the basic minimums that we supply, at least. So I was not going to leave that building today unless I had a definitive answer for the tenant on when they were going to have the ability to cook again. First thing is you identify the issue, then you start calling around. We had to find a plumber. So I'm calling all these plumbers and I'm telling them, hey, this is an emergency. I need somebody out here. I need to get this resolved. This is where the problem is. I've already had the gas company out here, yada, yada, yada. Most people were telling me a day or two out. I ended up landing on one through another contractor that I had. And they came out right away and resolved the issue. It was literally a pipe needed unscrewed and new, they call it pipe dope, or it's a thread lock, or whatever you want to call it. It's the stuff that goes in between the threads. It's like a putty almost, or a goo, and it goes between the threads. You unscrew the pipe, you put it on there, you screw it back on. It creates an airtight seal. So that's all it needed. It was very simple. It cost me a bit to have it done because it was an emergency, but you know what? We got it done, and the tenant's happy, and their gas is back on, and now I have a good contractor for doing gas lines. And we're squared away again. I'm going to share a trick that I use when I'm trying to find a contractor. So regardless what the issue is, if it's the roof or a gas line or a water line, I go out of my way to learn a little bit about it. Because if you call a contractor, and I've done this before, this is how I know this is a horrible idea. If you call a contractor and you know nothing about the issue, when they get there, they can tell you whatever they want. They can say, oh, your roof fluid is, your shingle fluid is low. You need to get that replaced, and it'll be $1,000. And then the next thing you know, they're up there putting caulk up on your roof, on your shingles, and charging you $1,000 and calling it a day, and you still got a leak or something, So the first step is making sure that you have an idea of what the problem is and what you may have to do to resolve it. That's step one. Okay. Once you have that little bit of understanding, when the contractor shows up, play stupid. Don't flex that knowledge. Just play stupid. Hey, I'm a stupid person. I don't know anything about it. I've never seen this before. What is a pipe? What does that carry? Electricity? I don't know. And then just let them play their hand. Make sure when you're looking for contractors that you're taking the time to know a little bit about the problem. Just take 5-10 minutes. Go study a little bit about it. Try and understand what the issue is. If it's the roof, go watch a YouTube video on putting together a roof. It will serve you immensely. If it's your furnace, go read the blink codes. The furnaces have these little blink codes that they tell you exactly what's wrong with them. Go read about it. Go learn about it. There's a million things you can do that you can learn on YouTube that will teach you about these different problems, and then call a contractor. Call them, and once again, don't play your hand right away. Play stupid. Let them tell you what the issue is, and then it's your bullshit meter can go off, and you can get rid of them if they're trying to screw you over. But just keep that in mind. Keep in mind that there are absolutely more contractors out there that want to screw you than want to help you. No questions asked. I would say it's like 70 or 80% of the contractors out there are total, absolute dog shit. Do not hire them. They're hard to weed through, but that's the reality of it. Just keep your radar out there. They'll look you in the face. They'll smile. They'll pretend you're your best friend. Those are the ones that you need to worry about. I want the guy that's going to come in there and be like, oh, this place is old and trash and I don't even want to work on this. Those are the people I want to find. The ones that just absolute blatant honest truth. So keep that in mind, property leaders. Make sure you're filtering your contractors and get out there and get into those rentals and do some repairs. Huh? Hey there, property leaders. We need your help. Time to get up off your ass and help some kids. We're trying to feed kids. There are kids here in the United States that are going hungry. They're food insecure. They don't know where their next meal is coming from, and that is a big deal. Head over to leadershipforlandlords.com and check out our shop. We have coffee cups, we've got journals, we've got mouse pads, t-shirts. You can even buy my book. If you buy magnet or sticker, we'll feed 3 kids. If you buy anything else, we'll feed 6 kids. Get over to Leadership for Landlords and do something good, huh?